Hello everybody, welcome to the JNL News Channel where we inform you on all things happening right now.
First story that we're going to talk about today is the United States' involvement in Afghanistan. Since 9/11, the United States has been constantly occupying different Middle Eastern countries, and Afghanistan specifically, as a way to wage war on terrorism. As of 2019, the United States has been occupying Afghanistan for over 18 years, since the September 11th attacks on the New York City World Trade Center.
That's right, Jacob. The events leading up to the current chaos in Afghanistan mainly include the rise of the Taliban and its presence and effects on the Afghan people. Terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda spawned from the Taliban, and through the works of Osama bin Laden came the worst terrorist attack happening in the United States. This event sparked a national campaign against terrorism and increased security throughout the United States.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
September 11, 2001 wasn't the first time America had heard from Osama bin Laden. Since the 1998 embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania and the bombing of the USS Cole in 2000, the United States had been pressuring the Taliban regime to hand over the al-Qaeda leader, believed to be hiding out in Afghanistan, training terrorists. They did not comply.
On my orders, the United States military has begun strikes against al-Qaeda terrorist training camps and military installations of the Taliban regime in Afghanistan.
By November, the U.S.-backed fighting force known as the Northern Alliance had reclaimed Kabul. By December 7th, the Taliban stronghold of Kandahar had fallen.
There is no doubt that the United States thought that we had succeeded in Afghanistan, that we had Osama bin Laden on the run, that this was a war that was essentially in the bag.
With Hamid Karzai in place as the interim leader of Afghanistan, the drumbeat of war moved west to Iraq.
The conduct of the Iraqi regime is a threat to the authority of the United Nations and a threat to peace.
The problem was that he took his eye off the ball and linked two things that didn't go together, which is al-Qaeda and Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden, and so things got much worse.
Politics was the creation of the Patriot Act, which stands for Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism, an act that was quickly created after 9/11 to justify, as George W. Bush calls, the war on terrorism. Not long after the creation of the Patriot Act, the United States with help from British forces to bomb areas of Afghanistan as a way to attack the Taliban.
Although the Taliban is known to collapse on December 9, 2001, the United States continued to launch attacks in Afghanistan against the terrorist group Al-Qaeda. After these attacks, the United States started to shift the war from terror from Afghanistan to Iraq. The United States also begins to reconstruct Afghanistan as a whole country, spending $38 billion over the decade to Afghanistan to help rebuild the country. This diplomacy between the United States and Afghanistan continues for years, resulting in steps towards democracy, until violence and a number of suicide bombings increases from 2005 to 2006. Throughout this time period, the United States still focuses on Iraq as the main front in the war.
In 2008, the newly elected President Barack Obama decides that the United States should focus all of its efforts on Afghanistan, sending over 17,000 more troops to fight against terror in Afghanistan and continue to stabilize the Afghan government. Obama continues to believe in this strategy as he links a stable Afghanistan government to a stable Pakistan government. As of 2009, the United States has over 37,000 troops stationed in Afghanistan as a way to finally end the war on terror and destroy the Taliban and al-Qaeda once and for all.
Throughout the rest of 2009, Obama continues to send small amounts of troops to Afghanistan and continues to follow through with his statement of the United States needs to stabilize Afghanistan and rid the country of terrorist groups. On December 1st, 2009, Obama announces the deployment of 30,000 more troops to Afghanistan on top of 68,000 that are already deployed there. Throughout the rest of 2010, more troops continue to be deployed in Afghanistan, and the number of American troops in Afghanistan reaches 100,000.
On May 1st, 2011, Osama bin Laden, the most wanted man in the world and the leader of al-Qaeda, was killed in Pakistan, and the main target of the 10-year war in Afghanistan had been eliminated. In America, people start to question if the United States should still be occupying Afghanistan, since the main target, bin Laden, is no longer in the picture.
Where they hope Osama bin Laden is pinned down, this time for good.
You see that look of silence on people's faces. It's people kind of waiting with bated breath to see and hear what's going to happen.
President Obama and his advisors have been watching everything through a drone feed. But when the SEALs enter the main building, the Situation Room is blind. The president must now rely solely on McRaven's play-by-play of the mission. Immediately inside the main building, the SEALs kill al-Kuwaiti's brother. When his wife tries to shield him, she's taken down as well.
If the SEALs turn to engage, they're doing so because they believe that that person actually represents a threat to them and to others on their team.
Extensive intelligence predicts they'll encounter 4 adult males, bin Laden and his inner circle. On the second floor, they take down the third. It's Khalid, bin Laden's oldest son. McRaven reports to the president. Confidence is now high. There's only one more potential target in the compound. Either it's Osama bin Laden, or the entire mission is a bust.
All the SEALs would have been focused on was accomplishing the mission that night. And their mission was to get Osama bin Laden.
In 2011, Obama announces a new plan to start withdrawing troops, over 10,000 troops, by the end of 2011, and sets the date for full withdrawal as of 2014. These new deported troops are to help strengthen the Afghan government by training its military and police force.
After 10 years of occupying Afghanistan, many people still doubt about the Afghan government's ability to secure the country and maintain peace that the United States and many other countries helped to establish. At the end of 2014, Obama plans to withdraw all troops by 2016, after previously stating that all troops would be withdrawn by 2014. He also states that only 9,800 troops will remain in Afghanistan, only to help train the Afghan army and Afghan police.
Fast forward to 2017. Newly elected President Donald Trump drops a Moab, or also called Mother of All Bombs, on a cave complex in rural Afghanistan, killing over 90 ISIS militants. Under President Trump, less troops are withdrawn from Afghanistan and more troops are deployed. He believed during this point a political settlement was far from achievable. In wake of the United States and President Trump's decision to increase the number of troops in Afghanistan, the Taliban attacked and killed over 115 people in a number of attacks as a response to the United States' increase of troops in Afghanistan.
Although the Taliban and other terrorist groups continue to wreak havoc in the Middle East and Afghanistan, the United States and Afghanistan have been working on obtaining peace within Afghanistan and the entirety of the Middle East. Today, President Trump has been pledging to withdraw troops from Afghanistan in exchange for the Taliban scaling down on their operations as well. Many people believe that the Taliban will not agree to ceasefire or withdrawal agreement because of the leverage and momentum that they've gained through that. It is clear that the Taliban's main request is to remove international troops from this country, but the real question is, how much will they give in return? If the U.S. were to just withdraw troops without a structured peace treaty, it may end the war, but will not resolve the deadly situation.
The United States and the Taliban are not the only two groups that are being affected by the conflict. The Taliban and other terrorist organizations such as ISIS often raid rural villages and demand supplies and refuge from the citizens in exchange for not getting killed by the Taliban. This is one way that the Taliban influences and recruits people to their cause, and also a way that the common citizens of Afghanistan are constantly being terrorized. Civilians and villages often support the Taliban because of the way that the United States troops treat them compared to the Taliban. Many believe that the Taliban provide them with food supply and protection, while the United States troops are often seen as a threat to their safety and to their own culture, which members of the Taliban always seem to understand.
It is hard to say how the United States will handle the invasion in the future that has been happening for more than 15 years. Well, I don't know about you, but I hope that and believe that the United States and country of Afghanistan will come to a steady agreement that will guarantee the safety of the Afghan and American citizens alike. Although the future for Afghanistan is truly unknown, based on the current events and the current situation between the two countries, a bright future for both countries is definitely plausible.
I agree, and believe that the idea of America removing its troops from Afghanistan would help calm the situation down a bit. but that is not the only thing that either of these countries can be doing to help and solve the situation. A solid peace agreement and plan between the United States and Afghanistan would be the most ideal situation, but I also believe that the Taliban should be represented in a peace treaty since they play such a large role in the United States invasion of Iraq.
And that wraps up our segment on the United States involvement in Afghanistan. Make sure to catch us every morning at 8 a.m. on our daily podcast and current political events happening right now.
We here at the JNL News Channel thank you so much for your support, and you can show your support by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing our ideas and thoughts.